The story begins with Noah having a practice duel with his sister Liza, but she manages to dodge every single one of his attacks. Luckily, Noah manages to corner her and goes for a finishing move, but she dodges this one as well and wins the fight. She questions how long Noah has been practicing swordsmanship and decides to teach him from now on. Furthermore, Liza yells at him for always yapping about stuff, and he shouts back, annoying her as she decides to walk away. This results in his other sister, Seal, telling him to give up and become a magician instead, but remembers that he doesn't have a talent for magic as well. She then wonders if there is anything a loser like Noah can even do and mentions that she's embarrassed by his incompetence. Following that, Noah says that their father only took him in because he was a filthy loner. Eventually, Noah gets tired of her blabbering and decides to leave the house. Seal begins to panic as she realizes that Noah is not joking this time, and he tells her to inform Liza for him. Additionally, he lets Seal know that he'll become an adventurer, as those losers are always looking for people. When she reminds him how dangerous it is, Noah reassures her that he'll stay away from danger and that protecting people is something he wants to do. Now that he has packed up his stuff, Seal says that their whole family will be together at the end of the month, but Noah wants to leave before Aaliyah arrives at the house. She follows him to the main gate, but Noah still doesn't stop and opens the door. For one last time, Seal reminds him that he might lose his life if he goes outside, and Noah surprisingly agrees. At this point, Seal gives up and starts walking away, and so does Noah. After he leaves, Seal begins bawling, but by this time, Noah is already thinking about his next step. Later, Noah arrives at the holy city for all the adventurers called Raja. It's been a week since he ran away, and still thinks that his sisters might catch him. Just then, Orto, the merchant, calls his name as the wagon will be departing soon. He lets Orto know that he plans to become an adventurer, and Orto gives him a letter of introduction that will surely help Noah in the future. When Noah tries to thank him, Orto reminds him of how he saved their lives earlier. Apparently, a few days ago, they were confronted by a bunch of goblins and were outnumbered. Suddenly, a giant goblin tried attacking them from above, and he recognized him as the general of goblins. When the goblin went for another strike, Noah noticed that his attacks seemed pretty slow compared to Liza's and easily managed to dodge every single one of them. Noah then counterattacked and sent the general a few meters away, only to appear right next to him and slash him along with some other goblins with a single strike, surprising everyone. Back in the present, Noah says that he wasn't that cool and the only thing he admires is Shin and the other adventurers of the party. But Orto lets him know that they might be strong but had trouble defeating those goblins. Eventually, they arrive in the town and Orto invites him to his store before saying his goodbyes, letting him know he'd be sure to have a lot to offer him. Noah agrees to visit sometime later, thanking him for all the help. Without wasting any time, Noah goes to the guild. Boy hesitates, wondering if it really was a good decision. Suddenly, Noah gets startled and the person behind him apologizes, saying that Noah looked like he was in some sort of distress. He lets Noah know that the guild is for adventurers and always welcomes new members, although becoming successful is solely up to his efforts. Noah agrees and enters the guild, where a hot babe named Rumelia welcomes him and gives Noah a form to fill. After filling in the form, she lets him know that he is not enough rank adventurer, and he wonders if the guild can buy some stuff from him. When she agrees, he takes out a small bag, letting Rumelia know that everything is inside of it. She gets shocked, realizing that it is a magic bag, and takes him to the warehouse where there should be enough room for his items. Noah wonders if magic bags are rare and expensive, to which Rumelia agrees, but he remembers making this one with Seal. Following that, he takes out a bunch of stuff from the bag, making Rumelia question the nosy brat's real identity. Rumelia pins Noah to the wall, mentioning that all the goblin material he took out are higher species. There's stuff related to 4 D ranks and 1 C rank goblin. If he had to take him out, he'd need to be a B rank or higher. She then begins to wonder if Noah is secretly a knight, but when he refuses, Rumelia questions if he stole any of this. Luckily, Noah remembers Orto's letter and gives it to Rumelia, who after reading it formally apologizes for doubting him. She then begins to panic for not having the authority to handle someone this powerful when the guild master advises her to let him take the special exam. Noah gets surprised, seeing that this guy is the guild master, and he introduces himself as Alberto to Noah. Alberto tells Rumelia to handle the reception desk, and she runs away in a hurry while Alberto decides to inform Noah about the special exam. Apparently, if Noah takes the special exam, it can increase his rank, but the decision is up to him. The next day, the special exam is held at the guild's underground training center, where several knights and mercenaries have proven themselves there. Rumelia lets him know that he will be having a mock battle with the examiner, and that if he passes, he'll start from D rank instead of F. She notices that the examiner is running late and uses this time to motivate Noah, saying that he'd pass for sure. Noah then asks her if there are any disadvantages to this battle, but she replies that there are not, and he can choose the other 2 ranks instead of D if he isn't good enough. While they wait for the examiner, Noah thinks that he has gotten nothing but praise ever since he left home, and just then, the ranked examiner named Cura appears. He realizes that she looks about the same age as him, but Rumelia reassures him that she might be young, but her skills are second to none. Cura tells Noah that he doesn't seem very confident and lets him know that he can get hurt if he's not careful enough. She then asks if he still wants to continue, to which Noah agrees, and with that being said, the battle begins. Noah begins to remember Cura's harsh words, realizing that he had been called incompetent by his sisters every day. Cura realizes that he seems even weaker than before, but decides not to pull any punches and goes for an attack, which Noah manages to block. However, she uses her second sword to attack Noah's head, but he still manages to dodge that attack, impressing Cura as she decides to showcase more of her skills. He continues to dodge every single one of her attacks and decides to keep his distance. Cura then goes for a new kind of attack, but Noah manages to escape that. She compliments his move, but says that he'll have to be on the defensive. She thinks that Noah might not have any powerful long ranga magic, but then notices him putting his sword back in the scabbard. Cura uses this chance to lunge at Noah, but he suddenly makes a flying attack using his sword, which Cura barely dodges. She begins to wonder how he learned such a legendary technique, but all Noah remembers is Liza telling him that it's the basis of the sword. Meanwhile, after seeing this technique, Cura decides to get serious, and even when Rumelia tries to stop her, she doesn't listen and uses her magic to create 2 new magical blades. Noah knows that he needs to dodge, or his sword will be cut in half, but remembers Liza's attacks, which were too fast for him to even see. Cura mentions that he's not paying attention and dashes towards him, and even though her moves are fast, he is able to see them and tries a counterattack that sends her flying. She eventually gives up and accepts her defeat, which is something Rumelia can't comprehend. She then goes to check up on Cura and notices that her jugs are exposed to the world to see. With that being said, Rumelia tells them to wait while she runs to go get Alberto. Using this chance, Cura tries rizzing him up, but Noah freaks out and steps back. However, she once again gets closer to him, letting him know that she wants him to join her party. Back in Noah's hometown, all the sisters are finally gathered at the house. Alia is furious at Seal for allowing Noah to get away and questions why she didn't stop him, to which Seal replies that her magic can be dangerous if not done correctly. Fame intervenes, telling them to stop arguing and that him running away must have been an impulse decision. She then begins blabbering about some hero but Ecclesia shuts her down, blaming others for being too strict with Noah. This shocks everyone, but Ecclesia further says that the 5 of them decided that they all wanted Noah to grow up to be a good man, but Liza always calls him incompetent. Meanwhile, Ilia is always giving him courses on worldly affairs, Fam's teaching him other stuff, resulting in Noah not catching a break. Furthermore, she is confident that he used to enjoy her classes and calls Liza's training to be the worst. When Liza questions her about it, Ecclesia replies that she always beat him up and bullied Noah, but Liza argues that she was doing it out of kindness. She then calls Ecclesia a dumb but Ecclesia replies that she can at least remember the whole multiplication table unlike her. Alia then tells them to stop arguing and decides to locate Noah as soon as possible. Liza is confident that he will be fine as long as he has his sword, but Seal mentions that there isn't a problem as she has also taught him magic, but there is a possibility of him clapping some baddies in secrecy. This statement makes everyone flabbergasted, and Liza says that she won't allow it. Fam also doesn't like this idea, and Ecclesia also refuses to accept it. In the end, Liza stands up and runs away in order to find Noah, while Alia tells everyone to meet up after they've made some progress, but wants everyone to find out where Liza could have gone off to. Elsewhere, Noah suddenly feels chills running down his spine, and Rumelia notices the giant boar he caught and grants him the reward. She then asks Noah if he is fine with his rank, to which he replies that starting at D rank isn't so bad after all. But the main thing she is curious about is the party invite from Cura, but Noah ended up turning her down as Cura kind of reminds him of his barbaric sisters. Suddenly, Rumelia gets an idea and tells Noah that Cura is one of the best in the Raja branch, and that she also has a pretty hot body. Noah gets flustered and tells Rumelia that it's not possible for him as he doesn't really like him. Suddenly, Cura appears and asks him why, to which he replies that she makes fun of him. She apologizes and invites him to join her party again, but he turns her down this time as well. She then asks Rumelia about the undead sightings, and she decides to bring the information. When Noah asks Rumelia about it, she replies that it is something Cura is pursuing. Following that, she almost spills the beans about Cura's secret, but stops and asks Noah to forget about it. Rumelia then notices that Noah gives a different vibe compared to other adventurers, and advises him to be more careful and reject Cura's invitation in all seriousness. As Cura is one of the strongest people in the guild, and a lot of people want to party with her, but others can get jealous of Noah after seeing her repeatedly invite him to her party. Noah decides to keep a low profile and accept requests from the city, but Rumelia mentions that they are just chores. However, Noah already is loaded and wants to get to know the people of the city. In the end, he accepts a request for a yard cleanup for 8,000 gold. On the other hand, a witch removes her magic from a dead man, saying that he wasn't that bad of a tool. Apparently, she has a lot of similar people around the city to keep watch over the adventurers and is planning to find the next specimens. Meanwhile, Noah completes the task of cleaning up the church's graveyard, but the sister from the church, Rhea, asks him to accept an additional request. At the underground waterway, Noah uses light magic that impresses everyone as they don't have to worry about miasma anymore. However, a B-ranker Nino seems to hate Noah, and ignoring her, he completes the request of eliminating miasma. Nino mentions that she doesn't like bringing a D rank along, but Rhea lets her know that he is really capable and managed to clean the entire graveyard in a single day. Noah lets her know that he used light magic that surprises her, and Rhea says that not many people can use light magic as good as him, not knowing that it was Pham who taught him that. However, Nino says that she still doesn't like him, to which Logwell replies that she is just jealous of Noah, as she wanted to join Cura's party but was rejected several times. This result in Nino reminds Logwell of him getting friend zoned by Rumelia. Nonetheless, Rhea decides to start their investigation of miasma and lets everyone know that dangerous people have made it hard to come there, and before they realize, a ton of miasma had already settled. Noah wonders if miasma is coming from the monsters and notices something in the water, warning everyone to be on their guards. Nino tells him that there is nothing there when suddenly a ton of ghouls emerge from water, and even from the ceiling, trying to attack Logwa, but luckily, Nino makes a Kit Kat out of it, while Logwa tells Nino not to throw their bodies on top of him. Suddenly, a lot of them start to gather around him, but he uses his shield to easily get past them, impressing Noah, who is amazed to see their teamwork. After they are done, Nino compliments Noah for noticing enemies before her even when she's a ninja, but Noah replies that sensing the presence of things is a fundamental skill. However, Nino argues that it is a high-level technique, and he hesitantly agrees, remembering that it was Liza who trained him. Meanwhile, Rhea finds it strange for ghouls to ambush people as they are pretty brain-dead and wonders if someone is behind it. Noah notices that the miasma is getting a lot thicker, and Nino, who is standing a bit far, notices several paper straps appearing out of nowhere and wrapping around her, followed by the appearance of the monster that is under the witch's control. Just when it is about to attack Nino, Noah cuts the paper straps, freeing her, and lands several attacks on it, which doesn't do much damage. He once again dashes towards the monster and this time tries attacking its back but fails to wound the monster. When the monster tries attacking him with paper straps, he swiftly cuts all of them down, but is well aware that cutting paper is not enough if he can't hard the main body. He needs to put more strength into his attack, but knows that his dollar store sword might break. Logwood tells Noah to run down the corridor as the monster will not be able to follow them, only to find a bunch of ghouls standing at the exit. At this point, they are trapped, and having no other choice, Noah decides to lock in and attacks the monster using more of his strength. However, that monster also doesn't back off and uses his papers to make a giant drill, but Noah goes for a direct hit and cuts through the drill, managing to deal some damage for the first time. Just when he is about to go for a second attack, Noah notices his sword crumbling, making him realize that Liza will be on his now. Furthermore, the monster's wound begins to heal, and Rhea tells Noah that the demon core is what allows it to regenerate. Just then, the monster attacks them with its fire breath, and all of them manage to hide behind Logwa's shield while Noah thinks of a plan to defeat the monster. Nino tells Noah to snap out of it and gives him a black mana steel kunai that won't break so easily. Logwa promises to protect Rhea, telling him to go for it, and he agrees. As soon as the monster takes a break, Noah jumps at the ceiling and searches for the body part, where he needs to attack in order to break the demon core. After finding it, he puts all his strength in his legs and attacks the monster, finally defeating it for good. Everyone begins to congratulate Noah for achieving such a feat and are glad that they defeated it without anyone getting hurt. He then returns the black mana steel back to Nino, and after swallowing her pride, she thanks him for saving her life. They then realize that the ghouls who were blocking their path disappeared as well, and Logwa begins to wonder who their real opponent might be. Raya suggests getting out before anything worse happens, and Logwa reminds them to collect the materials before leaving. Noah is still depressed about his broken sword, but Logwa promises to introduce Noah to a great blacksmith. As they leave the place, a snake most likely controlled by the witch stalks them from behind. Elsewhere at Winster Kingdom, the king wants to challenge Liza by making her fight an abnormal-looking golem. Apparently, it's an artifact from an ancient ruin equipped with the minigun Terminator used. McGrave is worried that Liza might not be able to defeat it, but Liza lets them know that she's got it. However, she asks the king to give her some personal time, yet she wins as she needs to search for her brother. With that being said, McGrave activates the golem while Liza prepares for the battle as well, thinking about the vow she made to protect Noah. The golem begins firing at Liza, but she blocks all of the bullets using her sword and with a single strike, takes down the golem. After the fight, she walks away, letting the king know that she will now search for her brother. Meanwhile, Noah and the others eventually get out and bring the bones of that dragon along. Before everyone goes their separate ways, Noah mentions that his cut might be too big, but Logwa says that he earned it, and Nino adds that he defeated the monster single-handedly. The girls then leave while Logwa asks Noah to meet up, planning to take him to a nice place tomorrow. The next day, Noah meets up with Logwa, who is happy to see him until he notices that Nino came along. When Logwa questions the reason behind Nino's sudden appearance, Nino says that he was planning on taking Noah to the water street where all the baddest girls of town gather. Logwa argues that adventurers need to blow off their hard-earned money, but Noah says that he can't go there because of his sisters. Logwa asks if they are terrifying, and when Noah agrees, he decides to just take Noah to the blacksmith. Noah is surprised to see the city center, and Nino informs him that materials from the bordering forest flow through this area. Logwa says that the country of dwarfs is close by, surprising Noah, and Logwa adds that their blacksmith is also a dwarf. After roaming around for a while, they eventually arrive at the blacksmith's shop and get to see a buffed-out dwarf named Barg. Logwa then introduces the two of them to Barg, and Barg calls Noah a rangy fellow. But Logwa reassures him that Noah is pretty strong and that he slayed a zombie dragon on his own. This shocks Barg, and he instantly smells Noah's hairy armpits, mentioning that his muscles smell amazing. He then tells Noah to strip, and when he refuses, Barg stays persistent and asks him again. Noah is annoyed about how embarrassing it was, and soon after Logwa appears, laughing at Noah, and letting him know that Barg only cares about muscles. He wonders how Noah trains, and Noah replies that he just does the basic stuff, remembering that time when Fam healed his injuries again and again so he can continue training with Liza. Nino mentions that he got a more amazing sword than her kunai while barely controlling her laugh. Logwa then decides to head to the guild, and Noah wonders if it is okay to drag them into Barg's request. Apparently, Barg told Noah to gather some Roctatoy shells for him, and Noah says that the two that they have no obligation to do it. However, both Logwa and Nino decide to tag along and help him anyway. At the guild, Rumelia officially forms their party, and Noah questions if something good happened to her. Rumelia replies that she finished her work and is not looking for a good night's sleep. She further tells him that their best rankers are investigating the underground waterway, and Cura intervenes, saying that it includes her as well. Without wasting a second, Nino jumps to give Cura a hug and advises her to be careful. Eventually, Logwa forcefully takes Nino away while Cura says that she's fated to cross paths with the undead. This makes Noah wonder if something happened in the past, and Cura lets him know that she had her homeland destroyed by demons and became an adventurer to take revenge. She further tells him not to pity her, as she had been trying to use him as bait for her revenge. But in the end, she didn't need him to catch a lead and starts walking away when unexpectedly, Noah stops Cura and gives her the demon core with light magic that would protect her from miasma. Suddenly, Nino snatches that core and begins casting some spell on it, later returning it to Cura. Before Cura leaves, she invites Noah out for dinner after she's done with work, and he agrees. Noah hopes that her investigation goes well, and Logwa suggests not worrying about her and heading outside as well. Soon after, they arrive at the Pantanal Great Wetlands, where a bunch of giant tortoises are present. Logwa mentions that they are called Swordsman's Nightmare, as physical attacks don't work on them. He then advises Noah to aim for the weak points on the neck, and Noah takes out his new sword to try it out for the first time. Earlier, Barg told them that his sword is made from meteor iron, and it has 3 unique qualities. In the present, Noah realizes that the first quality is how sturdy it is, and the second one is how sharp the sword is. Finally, he manages to defeat the tortoise, and Logwa advises him not to drop his guard when suddenly, several more tortoises appear out of nowhere. Nino blames Noah for their number, as they can sense how strong the opponent is. Nonetheless, they prepare to fight, and Logwa along with Nino plans to create an opening for Noah to strike. Just then, the ground begins to shake and the daddy of all those tortoises appears. Noah tries hitting the giant tortoise with a flying slash, but it doesn't affect it, and the tortoise replies by attacking back. Luckily, Logwa shields them from the attack, while Noah figures that long range attacks won't cut it. He wonders if getting closer to attack is the key, but Logwa advises him not to. He further says that it gives off heat from its body that could seriously burn humans. Just then, another tortoise is about to attack Noah, but thankfully, Nino attacks its eyes, which allows Noah to finish it off by slashing its head. Nino informs Noah that the giant tortoise doesn't have magic resistance like normal ones, but finds it hard to attack as none of them are magicians. Hearing about magic reminds Noah of Barg's words, who told them that the sword is capable of absorbing and storing mana. Thanks to the sword, he can cut spells and absorb them to negate their effects. However, it can't store unlimited amounts of mana and needs to release it at some point. Noah realizes that if he stores mana in advance, he can use the sword to cast magic as well. Back in the present, Noah decides to imbue mana into a flying slash, saying that it might be possible with his sword. He then asks them to buy him some time, and Logwa decides to take care of the smaller tortoise, while Nino plans to distract the bigger one. But before starting, she threatens to slice his little tool if he fails after using 2 bits rankers as bait. With that being said, Noah begins by gathering mana within his body and then sends it into the sword. Surprisingly, this works, and ice crystals begin to form around his sword. This results in the giant tortoise noticing Noah and ignoring Nino, but she attacks the tortoise to shift its attention back to her. The tortoise then begins dashing towards Nino, and she leads it to a bottomless part, making it hard for the tortoise to move. Noah takes advantage of this situation and attacks the tortoise with his sword embedded with mana, managing to slice it into several pieces and completing their mission. Nino then compliments Noah for making a magic sword, but instantly regrets and returns to pursue their act. Logwa mentions that they make a good party and look forward to the reward they might get. On her way back, Nino wonders if Noah is taking an advancement test, but turns out he needs to complete one more request to take it. Logwa thinks that he'll pass the C rank really easily, and soon after, they notice many people crowding in front of the guild. Suddenly, Rhea appears and informs them that many undead are crawling in the church's graveyard. Furthermore, there's an awful rumbling from the underground waterway, and she is at the guild for an emergency request. Just then, they notice a grand explosion nearby, and Rhea mentions that the church is in that direction. Noah asks Rhea to get inside the guild while telling the other 2 to come with him. After arriving at the church, they witness a giant hole where the church was located, along with several undead crawling out of it. Following that, the witch comes out flying from the hole along with Cura, who is in her grasp. Later, they inform the guild master about the situation and how they tried fighting the witch, but it managed to escape. The guild master lets them know that the thing they faced is a demon, letting them know that they're pretty intelligent, wicked, and powerful creatures. If the demon base was below the church, it was probably researching the undead, which made all the miasma appear. Noah wonders if the dragon was protecting the base and another A ranker, Shrine questions why it took Cura away like a hostage. He further mentions that the demon was powerful enough to wipe them out if he wanted to. Alberto realizes that its target must be Cura and asks Shrine about the necromancy tools, which results in Nino running out of patience and slamming the table, saying that they need to save Cura as soon as possible. Alberto agrees, but says that they can't make any rash moves as they may end up with more casualties in vain. He further says that they need a certain person to take care of this issue, but she's already dealing with her own personal troubles and isn't available. Shrine wonders who Alberto is talking about, and he says Liza's name, making Noah choke as he didn't realize they were talking about Liza. Eventually, Nina decides to go on her own as she knows where Cura is. Turns out she placed a racking spell on the demon cord Noah gave to her earlier. The two of them call her a creepy stalker, and she tells them to shut it, saying that they still need to figure out a way to save her. Eventually, Noah decides to tag along with Nino as well, saying that she promised to treat him to dinner. Before leaving, Noah gives Alberto a knife, saying that Liza will come to help if she sees this. Alberto wonders who Noah truly is but decides not to ask anything and allows them to save Cura, advising them to retreat if things go west. On their way to the Wicked Forest, Noah thinks about the knife being a present from Liza and decides to wrap this up before Liza finds him or he'll have to say goodbye to his freedom. Nino thanks Noah for using his knife to convince Alberto, but he thanks Logwa instead, who came along as well. He then shows them holy water that Rhea gave him, saying that it might help. Noah, I can't believe this stuff is valuable as Fam always dips his ass in holy water. Logwa then asks Nino if they are going in the right direction and she agrees, saying that the mansion is present in the middle of the forest. However, they aren't getting any closer. Logwa questions if it's a trap, and Nino uses her Veilbreak Eye to confirm. Just then, Noah notices a tree opening its eyes and it restricts Nino using its roots. Noah figures that the trees are changing the forest's path and misleading them. Luckily, Nino manages to free herself and the three of them easily manage to get past those trees, finally arriving at the mansion where Cura might be. The three of them are then confronted by undead dogs, and their presence makes them realize that the demon must be in the mansion. Just then, two giant demons appear and both of them decide to deal with the giants, asking Noah to go on ahead as if they fight them all. It'll never end. When Noah tries to argue, Nino says that they should stop if he takes out the necromancer. Eventually, Noah agrees and asks them not to push themselves. He then attacks the monsters up ahead, creating a path for him while the other two prepare to take on the remaining monsters. Following that, Noah kicks, opens the mansion door, and finds the demon in front of him. When he asks him about Cura, the demon tells Noah to stop yelling as he'll meet her soon. Just then, he notices Cura wrapped around by snakes and the demon tells Noah that he turned her into an experiment for his necromancy. When Noah asks what it means, the demon replies that Cura is alive, but is the same as an undead. Her hatred towards demons and physical abilities have made Cura a great vessel for possession. Noah gets furious and the demon begins laughing, saying that it's funny how Cura lost to him after she was chasing him for so long, and the look on her face at that time was a masterpiece. Just when Noah tries to attack, Cura blocks his advance, and the demon lets him know that he can't defeat Cura, as she has the power of several souls. She then lunges at Noah, and he barely blocks all her attacks despite him giving it his all. He then uses an exorcise magic, but it has no effect, which surprises the demon as he didn't expect Noah to use magic. He then starts to wonder how he can save Cura, and the demon says that it's possible to save her with a light magic spell. Instantly, Noah begins to focus and prepares the spell he learned from Fam, which lets him allow to take a light spirit into his body and purify everything. It was Valjima, the demon's greatest aim, to make the ultimate undead. Without care to the means, he experimented until he had a method to achieve it, which was to use Cura to make dead spirits possess a human. However, the spell has a problem, which is that humans have a strong adverse reaction to dead spirits, which stops them from maintaining a dead spirit. Valjima had a solution for it, which was to attack a village and eliminate people mindlessly, ultimately leaving one survivor and making them hold great hatred. A person with deep-seated loathing can become a vessel to endure the dead spirits. This spell on Cura is the fruit of Valjima's success of many years of research. But just as Noah uses his magic, it easily purifies Cura and brings her back in his arms. He is glad to see that she's back to normal and starts walking away when Valjima questions how a Roblox addict kid like him can use such a spell. He then questions if Noah has any idea how long it took her to complete the spell, but he replies that she eliminated countless people just for her research, asking if he knows the value of life. But Valjima tells Noah to shut his trap and tries to attack him with monsters that emerge from his body. Luckily, Noah dodges the initial attack and makes a jump, landing safely and realizing that they are pretty strong attacks. But he is confident and easily slices the monster thanks to his new sword. He then continues fighting the other monster, and Valjima uses this chance to attack Noah, which he barely blocks. Just then, another monster tries taking a bite of him, but he slices its mouth, freeing himself and hitting Valjima with a flying slash. This attack manages to harm him a bit, and Valjima mentions that Noah will be a capable vessel as well. This makes him give up on eliminating Noah and wants to capture him alive. He then instantly regenerates his wounds, making Noah figure that he might run out of stamina if the fight goes on. Valjima tells Noah that he will first capture those dear to him and then eliminate them all one by one, which makes him enraged, and Noah hits him with a magic spell, deciding to defeat him no matter what. Noah plans to strike him where he can't regenerate when at the same time, Cura wakes up and notices Noah fighting on his own. He then dashes towards Valjima, dodging all the attacks and managing to land a brutal blow. Simultaneously, Cura throws her sword at Valjima's skill, allowing Noah to hit him with a light flash, eventually breaking the skull in half and defeating Valjima. After defeating the demon, Noah realizes that it was too close for comfort, and Cura asks him what is going on. Apparently, she doesn't remember anything, along with the fact that her honkers are exposed. Cura apologizes for causing trouble and then hugs him, saying that he freed her family. When Noah asks how her body is feeling, she replies that she feels lighter than normal thanks to the light magic spell. He then mentions Fam telling him that light magic works wonders for stiff shoulders, making her confused when suddenly the other two come running. Nino ignores Noah and hugs Cura, telling her how worried she was. Cura apologizes, promising not to do anything dangerous again, and Logwa mentions that the undead they were fighting suddenly stopped. Noah figures that Valjima was controlling the undead, and Logwa thanks Noah for coming with them, as if he was not there, Nino might not have been alive. But Noah tells him not to act so weird as they are a party. With that being said, they decide to return, and Take the Demon returns back when Noah notices that the skull is missing. Just then, he notices it flying in the air, saying that he won't survive but wants to take as many of them down with her as he can. Following that, Valjima starts unleashing his powers, named the Demon Dragon Hydra. Noah tells everyone to run away, and soon after, the mansion explodes with Hydra making its way out. Logwa remembers that Hydra are disaster-class monsters, and Cura figures that he probably plans on attacking their city. Noah regrets lowering his guard and not finishing him off properly. He then tells everyone to run while he buys time and evacuate people. When they try to argue, he shouts at them, asking if they prefer to die. He further says that letting everyone die is something he can't afford, and Cura silently turns around along with Logwa, who picks up Nino, asking Noah to forgive them. After they run away, Noah realizes that he can't last more than 3 minutes alone, but knows that it's enough for those three to escape. Seeing the injuries on his body reminds him of Liza, who told him that even if someday he reaches his limit, he can still fight as long as he has the spirit to not give up. Noah then yells at the monster to come at him, and someone compliments him for saying that. That person turns out to be none other than Liza herself, who dashes towards the monsters and hits it with a quadruple flash, finishing it off with a single strike. Noah is surprised to see Liza, and after finishing off Hydra, she appears in front of Noah, saying that she was hoping that monster was a little tough. Following that, she wants Noah to come back home, but he silently turns away and begins sprinting like a loose puppy. While running, he apologizes to his party members for leaving them, but Liza easily catches up to him. Later, the other three watch as Noah returns in Liza's arms. Nino wonders why he is in the hands of such a babe. Cura begins walking towards Noah and gives him a hug, apologizing for leaving him alone and promising to grow stronger, so she never has to do such a thing again. Watching Noah get hugged by a woman enrages Liza, but he calms her down, deciding to explain everything. Everyone is surprised to find out Liza's true identity, and that she is Noah's sister. Furthermore, he wants to keep this a secret, and Liza says that she will be taking Noah home soon as week. She then thanks the others for taking care of her brother when Cura intervenes, asking why Noah looks so displeased. Liza questions the reason behind this look, reassuring him that she did some self-reflection and has made notes so even a loser like him can become good. Cura mentions that he defeated a demon by himself and gets reminded by Liza that he couldn't defeat the Hydra. She then once again suggests going home, but Noah refuses and wants to stay with his party. Liza questions if he really hates her guidance that much, but Noah lets Liza know that her guidance is really helpful, but he doesn't want to keep relying on her. This is why he wants to stay at Lodja and get stronger on his own way with his party. Surprisingly, she understands but still has two conditions. The first one is that he can't get hot and bothered with anyone without her permission. If some brain-dead girl decides to date him, he needs to get Liz's approval first. The second one is to land a blow on her, and if he can do that, she will allow him to stay and keep his location a secret. Noah reminds her that he has never landed a blow on her before, and she agrees, wanting him to come back. Liza then starts walking away, saying there's no chance he can land a blow on her. But shockingly, he agrees to take the challenge, making her figure out that he's no longer scared of her. Liza then asks Logwa to book a good place for a duel and gives him some bread as a payment, later telling Noah that their duel will be in 3 days, and he lets her know that he won't lose. At the Lodja Guild, Alberto apologizes to Liza for making a sudden request, not knowing that she was actually looking for Noah. He also thanks the others for saving Cura as well. After they inform Alberto of everything, he can't believe that a Hydra was summoned, and thinks that something might be happening in the demon world. He asks Rumelia to send notice to the HQ, and once again shows his gratitude to everyone. At night, Logwa tells Noah that he needs to deliver the materials to Barg. Meanwhile, Liza asks Noah if she can stay with him tonight as she didn't reserve a room. Noah agrees, and Liza suggests taking a bath together as well, which is rejected by Cura, saying she won't allow it even if they are siblings. Her intervention makes Liza mad, and Cura then tells Liza that the guild will be able to get her a room, but she refuses and gets ready to take out her weapon. In the end, Noah also decides to ask the guild for a room, and she agrees, promising to beat him during the duel. The next morning, Noah pays Barg a visit and gets harassed by the dwarf once again. Barg notices that he looks kind of depressed, and Noah informs him about the duel at Liza. Barg mentions that it must be the joy of being young, as when he was young, he challenged his master as well. Eventually, he decides to help Noah out and asks for some time. However, Noah himself knows that no matter how strong people call him, he can't imagine himself landing a hit on Liza. Soon after, Logwa enters the shop and Noah notices them covered in wounds. Apparently, they trained with Liza for the sake of the duel, as they wanted to figure out her weakness to help Noah out. Sadly, all 3 of them lost as she completely shut them down. Cura mentions that she thought she could do something, being an adventurer, as Liza holds pride, defeating others using a sword while adventurers use other weapons and the terrain to their advantage. She thought that the adventurer's fighting style might get her something. Noah gets excited after hearing about this idea, and simultaneously, Barg returns with a bunch of weapons. He made them a while back, and it includes a kunai that explodes on contact, and Nino offers to teach him how these weapons work. He begins bowing his head, and Nino asks him to stop doing that, and Logwa tells him to learn his shield technique as well. Noah wonders why they are willing to teach their valuable techniques to him, and Cura says that they'd all be dead if he hadn't come to Lodja. Additionally, they still want to keep adventuring with them. This makes Noah realize that he would have never thought about landing a hit on Liza without them, and wants to keep adventuring with them as well. Outside, Liza is present in a disguise, listening to everything they are planning. While she continues to stalk them, Nino tells Noah that the most part of throwing kunai is to guide their trajectory, and shows him by throwing them at the tree, shockingly turning them around it and aiming at Logwa, who uses his shield to change their trajectory and hit the targets. Simultaneously, Cura tells Noah that the shape looks funny, and he corrects it. She lets him know that her bladeless technique requires constant supply of mana, which is why he needs practice. She figures that he won't be able to practice 3 things at once, but notices him doing it, realizing how it took her 3 days. She then blindfolds him and starts choking Noah, asking him to maintain the shape. Nino suddenly feels bloodlust, now knowing that Liza is giving them death stares from afar. Liza has been tailing them from the shop and curses Cura for being all over her brother. She is mad at Noah for enjoying it as well, and notices that he is laughing, realizing that she hasn't seen Noah laugh like that in a while. This makes her remember the time they spend together, and she decides to walk away, wondering if he doesn't need her anymore. After returning to her room, Liza strips and takes a dip in the bath, planning to tell Fam about the remaining demons as she can take care of them. She then thinks how Noah defeated a demon and even challenged her to a duel. At this point, she knows that he doesn't lack talent, but lacks the spirit needed before when they were at home. She then realizes that Noah didn't develop the spirit during their training, but somehow did it in a month after leaving home. Liza figures that this must all be that cunning bitch's fault. She thinks that Noah might be trying to bad Cura by impressing her during the duel and gets even more furious. She makes up her mind to be gentler with him and be the one to teach him, so maybe one day she can pamper him and make Noah say, "I love you, Riza." While slashing her sword, she accidentally destroys the room, telling Noah to wait for their duel. The next day, Noah is present at the water street and decides to fight with everything he's got when his tummy begins to roar. Lagwa brings him some food, and they both enjoy their meal while gazing at the hotties surrounding them. Noah mentions how good it tastes, and Lagwa suggests hitting a nice shop he knows of after the duel, and the virgin declines. Just then, both girls appear with some more food, telling Noah that he can't fight if he's hungry. Noah is touched by their kindness, and after thanking them, he's ready for the duel. Noah then wonders how Lagwa found a duel place in such a busy place, and he tells Noah to leave it to the master of Water Street. Nino mentions that he got this nickname for being the Rizzler that he is, and Noah figures out the reason Lagwa is always short on bread. Eventually, they arrive at a bar and Nino says that she doesn't see anywhere they can duel. Just then, Noah senses the ominous aura of his big sister and realizes that Liza is already there. Lagwa informs them about the famous underground ring and takes them to the basement where people gather to watch bloody fights. However, the bar decided to shut the place down, but it still remains a remnant of strong warriors. After entering the room, Noah notices Liza staring at his soul, and Cura mentions how Liza has a different energy around her, not knowing that she is cursing her in her mind. Lagwa says that he has put a barrier but isn't sure if it could hold Liza's attack. But she tells them not to worry as she plans on using a wooden sword as if it's a real one. The city will turn into a mess. Lagwa then tells them the rules, which include 1 round with no time limit. Noah wins if he lands a hit and loses if he is unable to fight anymore. With that being said, both of them get into their positions and Liza tells Noah to show her the result of his training. As the fight is about to start, Liza wonders what Noah has been practicing as all his old habits are still there. Eventually, the fight begins and Liza dashes towards Noah and is about to attack when an explosion occurs, forcing her to step back in confusion. Noah tells Liza that he predicted this and took advantage of her naive thinking. However, it was just a greeting, as he plans to fight with everything he's got from now on. Liza says that she is not that simple to let him land a hit with cheap tricks, and Noah agrees, saying that this is the reason he created a special finishing move. Following that, Noah strikes her with an attack called Single Flash, but Liza runs towards it, and after flawlessly dodging the attack, she goes straight for Noah, and the two of them clash swords. Noah notices that Liza is wary of his attacks and moving somewhat sluggishly. He figures that dealing with her speed is possible and tries attacking again, but she dodges each and every single one of his advances. Apparently, he is trying to burn her sword with his flames, but it isn't working, and at this rate, Noah might run out of mana. Liza tells Noah that his flame attack has decent power and decides to increase the strength of her strikes as well. Just looking at her sheer strength makes Noah pants, and she comes straight at him, forcing Noah to kneel down, trying to block her attack. Everyone is surprised to see this, and Noah can't believe his sister is this powerful. Noah realizes that he needs to get out or his spine will break and creates a shield on his other arm, which allows him to block some of her attacks. Eventually, she manages to break his shield and sends Noah flying, but he tries attacking her mid-air, which she easily dodges. Noah knows that if he didn't have the shield, he'd be done for. Lagwa wonders why her wooden sword isn't burning, and Cura mentions that she is doing something to strengthen it, saying that her mana is unlike anything she has seen before. Noah decides to focus up, and Liza comments on how he has gotten stronger. This is his fight time, fighting her head-on like this, and she can't help but acknowledge his growth. Noah questions why they are still dueling, to which she replies that the outside world is filled with dangers and reminds him of Hydra. She further says that back home, all 5 of his sisters can protect him from any danger, asking him to come home. Cura tells him to stay firm, and the others begin to motivate him as well. Noah realizes that this duel can't be won by landing a blow on Liza, and that he needs her to understand that he can face any danger together with his friends. He then refuses to go home and asks Liza to use the special move that she has only shown him. Liza asks if he is sure, and Noah replies that if he can endure it and land a hit, she needs to acknowledge him with all his heart. Liza agrees and prepares to strike him with that move. This special move allows her to make clones of herself. Back in the past, Seal was in her room when Noah paid her a visit, covered in wounds, and told her that Liza split herself into 4. Seal mentions that it means Liza has mastered Kenki, and Noah questions if it's different from the mana they use. Seal replies that it is a power that specializes in physical enhancement, and those alter egos are no trickery but the real deal. In other words, he'll be fighting 4 Liza at once. Back in the present, Liza tells him that the 4 of her will attack him at the same time, telling him that it's over. Noah finds it really impressive and knows that even a single hit would put him down for good. However, controlling 3 other bodies makes Liza slower, and he can abuse that weakness. Just when she is about to attack him, he takes out the blade technique that Cura taught him and throws them at her, but she dodges all 4 of them, not knowing that they all turned around for another strike. Meanwhile, Noah puts all his power in a single strike, and Liza notices that his flames have gotten stronger. Luckily, she notices the blades behind her and dodges both those blades in his strike. She is now close to Noah and is about to end the duel, only to notice another flame appearing from above. Cura figures that Noah used the magic barrier to redirect the flame strike. Liza realizes that she can't dodge the attack at this distance and uses her alter ego to move herself out of the way. But Noah knows that it's not over and throws his kunai at Liza. Even though she manages to dodge, the kunai explodes and covers the battleground with smoke, keeping her from seeing Noah. Just then, he appears behind her and tries attacking, but she moves away. Surprisingly, he tells Liza that he loves her, making all 4 of her blush and accidentally get hit by his sword. She then compliments him for landing a hit, while the others celebrate this win. All of them start crying, telling Noah that his hard work paid off, how scary it was for them to watch, and that they are beyond impressed. Noah says that it's all thanks to them and knows that he only managed to land a hit because Liza was using a wooden sword. He then mentions that he still needs to grow stronger and looks at Liza, who seems depressed after the loss. Noah asks Liza to stop sulking, and she questions how they could tell her main body apart from the alter egos. He replies that it's little brother's intuition, but Liza says that her alter egos should have been perfect. However, Liza can't accept this defeat and wants a rematch, but there is no way Noah will agree to that. Cura mentions that luck is a part of one's skill, pissing Liza off even more as she asks Noah if he doesn't need her anymore. She further says that she has been strict with him, but now that he's grown stronger, having a nagging sister must be annoying. Shockingly, Liza begins crying while saying who would love such a strict sister, and Noah gives her a hug, asking her not to say such lonely things and that she is the sister he's proud of. Even if they are not related by blood, they are still family. She begins crying, asking Noah to come back home, but he tells Liza that he must leave the nest as well, and that moment happens to be now. Cura gives Liza the idea of visiting Noah whenever she wants, as with her manly thighs, it shouldn't be an issue for her to cover such distance. Liza gets overjoyed after hearing this as she realizes that she can still come to see him. Eventually, she agrees to let him continue his journey and promises not to tell the other sisters, advising him to grow stronger and enjoy his life as an adventurer. Cura is glad that they can keep adventuring together, and Noah invites her to join their party, to which she instantly agrees. Meanwhile, Liza, with a menacing look in her eyes, tells Noah that she won't approve of him clapping baddies, and he agrees not to. Hearing this makes Cura a bit disappointed, as she was planning to do such things. The next day, Noah is planning to pay Barg a visit when he notices Liza carrying a giant bag, telling him that she has come back to see him. He wonders what's the deal with the giant bag, and Liza lets him know that she's moving into the house she bought in the city. Apparently, she will be living in the city for half of the month, planning to keep those homewreckers away from him. Back at home, the other sisters are having another meeting and are wondering why Liza is not present. Alia is furious at Liza for missing the meeting and takes out a magical tickling tool, promising to give her a big punishment when she returns. Seal tells her that Liza got an urgent request from the guild, but Alia says that she could refuse. Seal elaborates that a Hydra showed up in Lodja, making Alia think that the Hydra is a disaster-class demon. Van calls down Ecclesia, saying that Liza has already defeated Hydra, and shows others a letter she received from Liza, informing her about the Hydra. Elia says that this is even more of a reason to worry about Noah, and says that her company deduced Liza to be the city Noah could be in. Both Seal and Fan begin to panic as the things they have taught Noah won't work against Hydra. Fan decides to call upon the Holy Army that consists of 200,000 soldiers, as with that large of an army, defeating Hydra and finding Noah won't be a problem. Elia mentions that she and Ecclesia can't fight and won't be able to defend Noah. At the same time, Fan's position makes it harder for her to leave the city in the end. Elia asks Seal to go and search for Noah, to which she agrees, saying that it all happened because she failed to stop Noah. Meanwhile, Logwa and the others are busy fighting the monsters on the outskirts of town. After injuring the monster, they leave the final strike to Noah, who slices the monster in half. However, he overdid it, causing water to drench their clothes. The girls are forced to expose their huge racks, while Logwa mentions how Noah got fired up after getting acknowledged by Liza. However, it's the opposite for Noah, as he knows how far behind Liza he currently is. He can use magic as well, but still falls short in front of Liza. The girls also whisper that Noah's standards for strength are pretty damn high. Following that, they collect the Orge's head, and Noah thinks about how the guild's information is usually more accurate. Just then, Cura notices a slime and begins to freak out, but Noah decides to eliminate it with his flame magic. Later, an unknown person appears and takes a look at all the defeated Orge she had tamed. She then notices the slime and ends up sharing her blood with it, allowing the slime to recover while she asks it to show those humans what true fear is. Later that day, they take the monster's remains to the guild, and Noah informs Rumelia that there were a few mistakes regarding the information provided by the guild. She mentions how monsters have been moving in ways they'd never seen before, and they are currently asking a monster expert to investigate. Logwa wonders if monsterologists are coming, and Rumelia agrees. Noah wonders who monsterologists are, and Logwa replies that they are a bunch of super-cultured monster maniacs. They once forced Nino to dress up as Wyvern and threw her in their nest. Cura was also forced to communicate with an ogre by exposing those goodies. Rumelia says that monsterologists are still the best of the best when it comes to monsters, and their work has greatly contributed to the guild's achievements. With that being said, Logwa suggests grabbing some food, and they coincidentally run into Liza at the restaurant. Everyone seems to be okay with her presence except for Cura, who says that this is supposed to be their party's gathering. Noah also adds that they can't talk about their adventures with her. Hearing this shocks Liza, and Noah lets her know that sometimes they just want to bond as a party. This results in Liza wanting to join their party as well, but Noah mentions that she needs to be an adventurer in order to join. Meanwhile, both Nino and Logwa think how they'd be out of work if she joins as well. In the end, Liza decides to have a sibling-only lunch and drags him away, but Cura argues that she was going to tell something to Noah on their way home. Liza doesn't like this idea and tells Cura to take her hands off, but she refuses. Logwa then asks everyone to meet up at the guild tomorrow, annoying Noah, as they will be working on another request. The next day, the guild is swarming with people, but Noah manages to get a request, and Logwa tells him that it's a preliminary request issued by the guild. It's meant for the guild members to conduct their own investigation before monsterologists arrive. This is why they gather a bunch of people by having the request raise their contribution in the guild. In other words, this could boost the adventurer's rank. Logwa also wants to become an A rank and asks Noah to check the request, only to find out that they are supposed to investigate the Valley of Razgow. Seeing their shocked faces makes Noah wonder if he messed up, and Cura lets him know that this spot is extremely unpopular for research requests. Sadly, a big shield guy can't visit such places, and Logwa decides to take this request with some other party. Now that it's only the three of them, Nino remembers Cura wanting to talk to Noah, and being the gully wingman she is, she decides to leave. Now, only two of them are left to take the request when unexpectedly, Liza appears and offers to join them. Apparently, Alberto called her and gave Liza an F-rank card, and with this, she won't have a problem joining their party. This results in Nino joining the requested job again, and Cura suggests making it clear during the job who Noah likes more. Liza then provides Noah with some candied apples while Cura gives him some golden rice crackers, asking him which one he will be choosing, but he shifts their attention to actually doing the job they came to the valley for. This results in the two of them fighting over which one Noah likes more, and having no other choice, he decides to investigate on his own. He then whips out the mana measure the guild lent him and it shows different colors to indicate mana level. After seeing that the mana level at the entrance is normal, the two remaining locations are the middle and the bottom of the valley. He needs to go down, but seeing how low it is gives him cold feet. Liza mentions that they can use air walk, but Noah argues that she is the only one who can use it. Cura finds a path leading to the bottom of the valley, asking Liza to keep up. However, the path turns out to be a nightmare and Noah figures out why Logwa couldn't join them. With that being said, they begin to go down the path and Noah realizes that he might not be good with heights. Liza wonders if something is wrong with him, and he covers up his cowardice by complimenting the view. He knows that if Liza finds out about it, she'll make him go through hell and decides to hurry up. Liza shows off her skills by jumping above him and asking Noah if he is afraid of heights. He tries to refuse, but his wobbly legs say otherwise, causing Liza to ask Noah to hold her hands. Noah wonders if it is okay as he thought her meaningless training might begin, but Liza tells him to stop wasting time and grab her hand. Eventually, he ends up holding her hands and lets Liza know that doing this brings back old memories. Liza begins to blush and asks him to stop talking about useless stuff. Cura offers to be the next one who holds his hands, but Noah refuses to trouble her. He then takes out the measure again, and it begins showing a strange color. Noah realizes that there is so much mana that the device can't quantify it, and begins to wonder if they should report it to the guild. Cura says that they can't return now, and asks if there is some other way to measure mana. Noah suggests improving the mana measuring device and getting to work ASAP. Surprisingly, he manages to improve it and adds a new color. When Nina mentions how only the Lady Sage could do something like this, Noah remembers Seal, who could have added even more stuff in the same amount of time. Now, it's time to head to the bottom, and the two of them decide to have a match to see who will be holding Noah's hands. In the end, Nina wins the match and laughs at him for being so pathetic. She then accidentally touches a slime, and it almost attacks her, but Noah manages to save her from its attack, which causes a rock to melt. He tells the other two to be careful, but Liza says that the abnormal mana is probably due to the giant slime in front of them. Slimes might be the weakest among the monsters, but they are slash-resistant and have regeneration capabilities. Noah notices that the slime is not moving and notices a red slime, which he traps in a bottle for further research. He then wonders if they should go back, but Liza wants to exterminate them and starts off by slashing the slime, but it doesn't affect it. Noah lets her know that they can regenerate, but she wants to cut it nonetheless. He realizes that Liza is pissed, and she might destroy the valley while trying to defeat the slime. To calm her down, he asks Liza to attack when he gives her the signal, to which she agrees. He then provides Nino and Cura with Barg's handmade kunai, asking them to use these as bombs to burn the slime while he uses advanced magic at the same time. Cura says that advanced magic needs 30 minutes of chanting, but Noah reassures her that he can do it in 3 minutes. He then begins chanting thick of it lyrics, causing the slimes to attack him, but they are taken care of by the girls, who makes them explode thanks to Barg's kunai. The giant slime attacks them with acid, and Noah asks Liza to attack, and she managed to slash the slime, followed by Noah hitting it with his advanced magic. Just when he thinks that they have defeated the slime easily regenerates and counterattacks, which almost hits Noah. Luckily, Liza manages to save him in the nick of time, and he suggests retreating. Liza tells him to go ahead while she protects him from the acid, and thankfully, they all manage to get outside. Liza also appears soon after with her melted clothes, and just when Noah looks the other way. Liza's pumpkins get exposed, but luckily, the girls manage to hide the cherries from Noah. Meanwhile, a sailor tells Seal that they can't set sail yet as the river is filled with dangerous monsters, and when she questions him about it, the sailor lets her know that the monsterologists are investigating but still haven't located the monster's nest. In the end, she decides to get involved and blames Noah for running away from home. She then decides to not only bring Noah home, but make sure to shower him with plenty of love. She then begins searching for the monsterologists and curses the river for being this huge. She is pissed, wants to take a bath, and hasn't heard Noah's voice in months. Just when she is about to cry, a diver emerges from the river, and that person turns out to be the monsterologist named Kina. Her guards begin to question Seal, asking if she's a bandit or something, which pisses her off even more. Luckily, Kina intervenes, telling Seal that they are the monsterologists, and Seal also introduces herself as the sage, showing them her insignia. Following that, Kina asks about her business with them and Seal replies that she came to help monsterologists so she can ferry to the other side by ship. Kina lets her know that the investigation isn't going very well, even though they have laid traps for the monsters. Each time they try to dive in, the monsters attack them, making Seal wonder if they are like a new species or something. Kina replies that they are called armored fish and are pretty common. Seal questions why they are having such a hard time and Kina shows them one of the fish that looks nothing like the picture in the book. Apparently they are mutating and previously they didn't attack people or ships. Seal notices a malicious mana within the fish and realizes that the whole river is filled with them. With that being said, Seal decides to locate their nest and asks Kina to step back as she will track down their mana. She finds out that the armored fish have eaten everything in the vicinity and manages to locate their nest. Seal questions if she can finally sail now, but Kina mentions that it might still take them about 5 days to deal with them. Freaking Seal out, and she asks Kina if there isn't a faster way to deal with them. Kina replies that if the water gets colder, the fish's body temperature drops, which keeps them from moving, but is sure that even a sage can't cool down such a huge river. However, she instantly takes out her wand and makes a magic circle appear, telling Kina that wizards are the ones who develop magic, and that she's willing to do anything for Noah's sake. Her spell freezes most of the river and Seal begins to walk away, leaving the rest of the work to Kina. She then asks Seal what she is looking for in such a hurry. She replies that if things continue to be the same, something similar to the end of the world might happen. Kina also figures that the only ones capable of doing monster mutations are none other than the demons. Meanwhile, Noah and the others inform Romelia about the slime and Liza asks her to make a request to slay it as soon as possible. Because of that slime, she almost revealed her melons and Noah lets her know that she can't defeat it alone. Liza replies that a man like him wouldn't get it as she may be rough, but is still a woman despite that. This makes Noah promise her to get back at it for what it did, making Liza overjoyed. Logwa meets up with the others and finds out about the ordeal they went through. He is glad that everyone is fine, but Noah seems to think that he might really be a useless loser. Apparently, the monsterologists who are supposed to take care of the slimes are late, and when Liza heard about it, she went to pick them up herself. Noah then tells Logwa why she is in such a hurry, making him regret not seeing those melons with his eyes. However, even when the monsterologist arrives, they won't be able to take care of it instantly and Liza might just go after it on her own. Being the Riz Lord, Logwa tells Noah that when a lady is hurt, they need to give her a present. Nino elaborates that he will need to distract Liza with something which makes Cura jealous, as she wants a present as well. Nino lets Cura know that she can use picking a gift for Liza as an excuse to go on a date with Noah. They then begin to wonder what they should gift her, and Noah figures that she'd be delighted if he can fix her armor that was melted by the slime. Sadly, Barg doesn't work on armor and Cura suggests going to Ordo's place, as she also frequently visits his armor store. She then gives him the flyer of the store, and he instantly recognizes the person she is talking about. Noah informs them that he was the one who recommended him to the guild, and Cura decides to go there together. The next day, Noah is waiting for Cura, and soon after she appears, wearing quite a revealing outfit for her flat body. She then asks Noah how she looks, and he compliments her. Noah mentions that the other two haven't arrived yet, and Cura says that they couldn't make it due to an emergency, not knowing they are already stalking them. Apparently, the two of them decided to watch over Cura, as this is a big deal for her. Nino further says that Cura never had a boyfriend and has no experience in this sort of stuff. She was hell-bent on taking revenge and didn't have the time for love, but now that the demon is defeated, she can focus on her happiness. However, the problem is that the person she loves is a thick-headed bastard. Elsewhere, Noah and Cura arrive at Ordo's shop and are welcomed by Ordo himself. He apologizes for not visiting sooner, and Ordo praises him for defeating a demon. Noah then shows him the armor, and after taking a look at it, Ordo says that he can restore the armor, but as it has magic imbued in it, repairs will be quite difficult. Noah remembers that Seal was worried about Liza's harsh training and imbued multiple spells on the armor. Furthermore, he doesn't know anyone who can cast enhancement magic, but Cura says that he is the perfect person for the job as he already improved the measuring device the other day. Noah begins to panic, saying how hard it is, but Cura tells her not to worry about it and just go for it. He then wonders why she is helping Liza out, and Cura replies that it must be nice receiving presents from family, but her real purpose is to get closer to Liza for the sake of their future. While the armor is being repaired, Cura suggests having lunch together and asks him to tell her his story. With that being said, the two of them pay their local pizza hut a visit, and Cura mentions that it's famous for how stretchy the cheese is. He compliments her for knowing all the best places to eat at, making her glad that researched yesterday. Cura then asks Noah about Liza and what she is to him, and he replies that she is a precious family member, only to add that they are not blood-related. Hearing this freaks Cura out, as Noah could easily take the stepsister route. He further mentions that he has 4 other stepsisters, reminding her of those hot quintuplets. His real parents died, and afterward, his sister's dad took him in. He doesn't remember much except for the time he met his sisters for the first time. They had no interest in him, but his stepfather told Noah that from now on, he'll be a part of the family. Cura mentions that he is quite chummy with Liza now, but Noah argues that she still finds fault with everything he does. But he is well aware that he is the reason Liza is so overprotective. Turns out that after taking him in, his stepfather fell ill and passed away. His mother also got sick, so she split the children into 2 groups and sent them to live with relatives. But he didn't want the family to fall apart and left their house without telling anyone to ask their relatives for some time. As expected, he collapsed from the cold after getting home and was on the edge of life and death for a week. In the end, Alia takes over their father's business, so the family doesn't fall apart. He thinks that the accident made them worry so much that they started getting involved with him. Cura is surprised he went so far for them when they had been ignoring him. Noah replies that during his stepfather's funeral, he saw the super competent people crying their hearts out, and as a member of their family, decided to support them. Cura begins tearing up as well and says that she didn't know Liza had a merchant sister as well, surprised as his household is full of amazing people. He agrees, saying he tried his best to catch up, but couldn't even get close, which is why he decided to leave home. But day after day, he sees how cool his sisters are and how miserable he is. Suddenly, Nino slams the table, saying that it's not true, as at least for her. He is an incredibly reliable comrade. Noah questions what she's doing there, and while she makes excuses, Logwa also reveals his pathetic-looking face. Noah mentions that they could have just joined them, and Cura says that they couldn't call them out as they were having a serious discussion. Later, Cura wishes to get in Noah's pants, but is sure that his sisters will resent her and make Noah sad as well, which makes her wonder how she can get Liza to acknowledge her. Do you think CL will be able to find Noah? Comment adventurer if you'd like a part 2 of this series. As usual, thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one.